number. That's a nice.
Any extensions? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Sir. We'll discuss board action to approve inmate medical proposal submitted by Southern Health Partners. And reviewing this and looking at the things they got, tell me what you got here. Captain.
Or not in here.
No, we haven't leaned back this microphone. So what we did is went out for bids, or request for bids, and, received a total of, how many proposals? Four proposals. So we got Turnkey, Hill Regional, Southern Health Partners, and,
Cordell.
yeah, Cordell. I'm gonna have to remember to bring my stinking glasses.
It doesn't help when you're wearing a mask if they fall up.
Yeah, good, let's see. Tell us what you got this morning.
Well, I'm sitting there looking at the bids, currently we have Southern Health Partners, and that's who we've had since 2009, and we discovered last year that we should have gone out for bids 5 years after that, so in 2014, and then again, should have done it again in 2019. We've kind of fallen behind the times. So anyway, we go out and get bids, just to make sure that we're being good stewards of the money. We, not to say that there's anything wrong with Southern Health Partners. I've been very happy with Southern Health Partners. The problems that we've been having here lately are just having to send people to the hospital. It seems to be more and more, everybody wants to be sick, and with the pandemic, the inmates are worried that it's coming into the jail. We've been lucky that we've only had 2 cases in the jail so far, and those have long since passed. When we do send them to the hospital, it seems like the hospital wants to keep people in the hospital a little bit longer than they would the normal person right off the street. So we are spending a lot more money nowadays. With this, going for bids, there was a few things that, as a jail captain in the sheriff's department, we decided that it would be in our best interest to add some time limits to the nursing staff from 12 hours to 16 hours a day. That is going to increase things. And due to mandates set out by the state and jail commission, mental health is a big issue. So we requested to have at least 8 hours a week for a mental health professional to be on site, so they can interview, talk to inmates that are in need of that service. And believe it or not, there's quite a few every day that we have. So it's nothing that we wouldn't just sit there and watch them waste their time away. They'll be very busy in the jail. So with those things added, it's kind of upped the cost of what it's going to be to have inmate help in the jail. And I understand we haven't budgeted for a lot of this stuff. It's just one of those things that it comes about. And, the unfunded mandates, the citizens of the state or the citizens of the county have to fund that. Right now, looking at all the bids that were put in, everybody's very close.
So we're looking at Turnkey with 112 hours a week, they were 409,000. Hill Regional, it doesn't say how many hours a week, they were 438,000. Fort Health was 595,000, their larger hours, which is way out of whack there. And then you've got Southern Health Partners, which has got 4 different things on this list. It seems like 114-hour week, 363,000. But then there's 2 others under it, EMR and qualified mental health. What is the EMR?
EMR, you talk about the core EMR?
Yes.
That's their computerized. All 3, well, I say all 3. Hill Regional doesn't have that. They don't work in inmate health, and they never have.
Okay.
This would be something new for them. But the other 3, they all provide core EMR, which is their records keeping program.
Okay.
It's a computerized program. And that they just added a price to it, where the others they chose not to, because I assume they think that's part of their business.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, they're all very equal. When you get back here and you look at Hill Regional Hospital, I mean, you see that they have 0 experience in correctional health. And that's, you may not see, but when you're trying to compare apples to apples, you have a few oranges thrown in there, and it kind of throws things off.
Right.
not to say that they can't do it, I mean, they've been in business for years, so I'm not taking anything away from them, they just didn't meet the RFP requirements. But because they are a long-standing local business or a facility, I mean, we kind of gave them a pass. We also did a pass for Core Health. It's a relatively new company. They've been in business for right about 5 years, just under 5 years. But the people that are running the business all have extensive background in correctional health. So we kind of gave them a pass on the 5 years.
Their price tag put them out of the running.
Yeah, it did. When you sit back here and look at everything and all the changes that are gonna have to be made, personnel and everything, I think it's in the best interest of the sheriff's office and for the county to maintain Southern Health Partners, just because. Now, I understand because of budgeting, you know, it may be impossible to meet some of these needs, and we may have to go back and renegotiate something with Southern Health Partners. But I think.
Have you seen the contract from them yet for the next round? I haven't seen the contract yet.
I have not. I do have the lady's information in my office, and I can certainly get her to send me a copy of it.
I'd love to, because I'd like to, before we approve this, is to negotiate. I don't care if we have a special meeting, I know you're on timeline, it's done, but I'd like to negotiate a couple of terms in that contract, make sure they're there. One thing we talked about earlier, making sure that 3% annual increase is limited so that it can't just jump up on us too much. And the other thing is I'd like to negotiate on some of their terms. Okay, you've got 114 hours for your physician. Right now, we're getting 86. We need 114, 112. Is there any savings there?
Yeah, that was, I don't know if there's any savings. I really don't. That's one of the things that we need to look into. And I figured that once we decided which company we would go with, we could probably sit down and kind of fine tune a contract, which.
I would say tentatively, what you're asking is to say that Southern Health Partners would be our lowest and best bid. It's not the lowest bid, but it's the lowest.
I think it's in the best interest. I think it's so just with all the moving.
Just to stay in clear path here, we need to go back and negotiate with them during this time process. What's the proper language that we need to put? Or we need to take any action at this point? Okay.
Now, as far as accepting not accepting a bid, but accepting a company, I mean, I'm just curious because I don't know.
Well, we don't need to accept the bid right now because we have to negotiate at the end of it. We want to see the contract from them and get them to give us the contract so that we can go through that contract and make sure the terms of the contract are agreeable to us. Because if they put in there, hey, they're going to fire Captain Cox in year 2 as a requirement of the contract, I don't think we're going to sign that.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. But what I'm getting at is, you know, sometimes just looking at the money alone is one part, but as you're saying, apples and oranges, looking at the contract too, make sure there's no gotchas in there that they don't. So we need to look at that contract before we accept your bid. Because we have concerns or things that we address. No. Okay. If you get a contract to us, we'll start working on it this week and try to get back from the board if we actually next week, not the road week out.
All right.
Other questions we've gotten is, I understand why the proposal is more expensive than the previous year's proposal because of the addition of mental health hours, which again, as you say, Senator Blandack put some of this stuff on us. So you've got that problem.
We also moved with 4 more hours a day for nursing, from 12 hours a day to 16 hours a day. That's something that we're proposing. It's not nothing that's written in
well,
concrete.
I'm not telling you no. I understand your need. I understand what you've got down there. I know what you guys are trying to deal with, especially during this COVID pandemic and the amount of money and time you guys put into this. Let's just look at the contract and see if we can't get something negotiated out and go forward.
Okay.
Why not?
We can certainly do it.
Commissioner, your thoughts on this?
So that's the way to go. How many people we have in the jail today?
You know, I didn't check, but I think we arrested at least 9 people last night. So I think our numbers probably jumped up to about 100 and maybe 140.
Hey, Tim, I'm sorry, I apologize. I've heard a pause about you finish speaking.
No, it's about 140.
How many women? That was one of the tours I took people on. They were surprised we had that many women.
Women are pretty steady, about 22, 23. TDC is the whole back home. Typically, the pandemic has caused a lot of issues, and getting women into TDC has been a big issue. We are moving, just not as fast as we have in the past.
I know you guys have had a lot of challenges. We worked together over the weekend on something on the mental health. I really appreciate all you're doing down there. I understand it. I want to tell you, I personally appreciate all you're doing.
Well, thank you. We have been within a lot of hours, a lot lately.
A lot.
So we couldn't do it without you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Tim, Quintana, you there? You, hey, can you unmute Tim Quintana if he's got anything to say as Southern Health Partners representative? Oh, just a second, just make sure he's got that in a second. We're gonna take a TV timeout, for the field here.
Commercial
Can
break.
you hear us, Tim?
He's got his own self muted, Judge.
Hey, Tim, you muted yourself. You may just be blind on here too, you never know.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Tim, we can hear you now, go ahead.
I was listening to y'all's discussion and I could, it's kind of hard to hear y'all, but I'm trying to keep up best I can.
Tim, do you have a copy of your contract you can forward to us?
Can I do what now, sir?
Can you forward a copy of the contract to us?
Yes, sir, I will.
If you would, please. What we're gonna do is look at that contract, get back in touch with you, and we'll be taking final action probably in the next week or so.
That sounds good. I'll get work on it as soon as I hang up, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Tim.
I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all.
All right, brother. If not, we're gonna put this along and figure out the whole structure commission for next Tuesday to do with this. I'll let you know what you do. What's that? How many you gonna be in closed session? I don't know.
You going?
Okay.
I can,
Sit down, hang on, you pull up on the computer.
yeah, we can.
Just like this Zoom meeting, y'all get together on the computer. I don't have to see your smiling face.
We have to get up early.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So, number 5, discuss and approve a resolution of respect for Berta Leon Hackney. This is a resolution that's forwarded to the Honorable F.E. Bob McGregor, who is the chairman of the Hill County Historical Commission. And it reads, whereas Berta Leon Hackney passed away at her home in Motor, Texas on November 21st, 2020. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney was born March 11, 1931 to Lord Brown and Union Rigby Graham. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney was a student at New London School where 295 students and teachers died in an explosion on March 18, 1937. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney was a Kilgore Ranger at Kilgore Junior College and graduated of the University of Houston. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney is a former mayor of the city of Hubbard and was preceded to death by her husbands Jade Leon and Jim Hackney, and survived by a daughter, Cindy Leon, husband Hollis Rutledge, and many other relatives and friends. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney had services conducted at the First Baptist Church of Hubbard on the 28th day of November 2020. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney was a noted civic and philanthropic leader for many years on the international scale. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney loved history and was an avid collector of classic cars, fine European dolls from around the world. Whereas Berta Leon Hackney had a long continued tenure as a member of the Hill County Historical Commission. Be it therefore known by all persons that the motion duly made and seconded and unanimously passed, the Commission of the Court of Hill County, Texas, has this date directed this resolution of respect and honor of Berta Leon Hackney duly spread upon the minutes of the court, and a true and correct duplicate original hereof be forwarded to the Hill County Historical Commission for presentation to the family, with a copy being preserved for record of the commission. Motion is second, any further discussion? The 1920, this is out in East Texas. When they started putting mercaptan and propane gas, they had attacked from oil field gas, and they were using the school, using the power of the school, like the school, heat school. And in the basement, they had their shop class, and shop teacher apparently flipped the switch and it's sparking of the school. Some of the worst schools ever. Wow. Yeah, pretty bad deal. All right, I call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, pass that around. Number 6, assessment report, monthly reports from the offices. I got those monthly reports for you. You can go through them. If not, we're here for the third report on records.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion second to approve monthly report from the offices. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 7, discuss and or take action on grant application for FEMA as COVID related. What we have is, Susan, go ahead. You found it.
Well, there's a additional grant for FEMA that's COVID related, and the deadline to apply is the end of the month, so we're not sure what expenses we'll have that qualify. We've had a few, it's kind of before and after the 1.1 million is already in processing. But this is just for additional funds that'll be reimbursement based.
Make a motion, we go after.
Second.
I have a motion second to apply to the FEMA COVID grant. Any further discussion? As more of the resolutions come up, things like that, we're on kind of tight timelines, we're gonna get it on for approval moving forward. But, as we get some more, we'll bring it to you. What you got?
It's just for the next item, if you pass those.
I'll call the question in, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item is discuss an action, take action on FY 2020 encumbrances. So we're very conservative when we build budgets around here. And one of the bills that we had this last year was we thought that we would have a lack of funds to some degree from this COVID situation. And it turns out our people did a great job not spending their allocated budget last year. So we have some money left and try to backfill some of the holes and things that we cut out of the budget during budget time in order to keep the ship afloat here. So Susan, you want to go through this, or you want to go through it?
Actually, for the year, we were kind of on target, but just our reserve fund balance projected for the end of September is around 7 million. And our beginning balance on our budget, we projected right at 6 million. So we had almost 1 million to go. And so we went through the purchase orders that were requested but not invoiced till after the end of the year. We had a couple on the global correctional systems. And anyway, I just put together this list last night, and I think these by encumbering these, then we can save our capital expenditure line for some more projects. We've got all kinds of things going, and we don't ever know what we're gonna run into when we fix these old buildings. And I think it would be good, you know, the taxpayers' money, they don't want us to tax them and then not use the funds to support the government, our county government, so that's what we're doing, making improvements. We had the global correctional systems, for the jail that was gonna be paid through IT. Parsons, the total of the Covington roof for $265,000. City of Hillsborough for our share of the building across the street to get parking for downtown and the county employees. And then improvements to the parking lot, $75,000. The constable one vehicle, $44,374. McKenna Street capital lease, we failed to include that in the budget of $123,901. Then we signed the deal on the election equipment so late, and I guess we didn't think about putting their lease payment in at $60,863. I set aside $50,000 on Franklin Street Annex, Waco Support Services, $50,000 in repairs, and then an additional $100,000 for shelving. This is for not district clerk and county clerk. This is for the rest of the offices. Sheriff, I added $3,000 for the down payment on the Tahoe, where we were going to use the insurance money for the rest of it, and then I added the 2 jail transport vans we hadn't budgeted, I could see, for $43,750 for the 2 jail transport vans, and came up with $938,238. So
That's a lot of money.
Make a
that's for
motion.
my recommendations.
All right, you've heard the author's recommendation, we have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. The second page,
Yeah.
excuse me, Judge.
That's okay.
Um,
Shelving for the county clerk and the district clerk records?
right,
Correct. Because we didn't exactly budget for that shelving, but they have the money in the separate funds and.
Right.
Towards the conference.
right. So we were encumbering $100,000 for county clerk records and district clerk records, additional $20,000.
So you've heard the county auditor's recommendations for encumbrances of additional reserve funds, fiscal year 2020. And we have Commissioner Montgomery has made a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Hawkins. Is there any further discussion on this? This is able, we're able to do these things because all of our elected officials are responsible for the budgets they turn in that they don't use, and this allows us to take care of capital projects like this, so I greatly appreciate everybody in hard work. I'll call the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously. Carries the motion. Observe report, certificate of completion, Marshall Eubank for continuing education for 2020. Motion to observe report.
Make a motion.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, observe report. Number 10, man, you didn't get me a list, where's surplus property, precinct 2, what you got?
Junk.
I need a list of the junk though, I gotta have a list.
I've got a list at the office. It's old culvert, bent tin, burnt metal.
We can get it to me, put it on next week's agenda, and that way we can deal with it then, and I got a list. of-
Yeah, when you're out of town, see what you have to do with it. when you're out of town. See how you are?
Surplus equipment and parts that have been laying there for 10 years or 2 fuel tanks.
Get Glenn to give me the list. and we'll
I've got it laying on my desk.
All right, so we're gonna skip on 10 and 11. That's the discussion action declaration, discussion action settlement. We're gonna go to 12, which is approved resolution for IT cybersecurity grant. And I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but this is a grant we previously heard about earlier today regarding cybersecurity. The way that these Homeland Security grants work, they focus on something new every biennium, it's new every year. This year being cybersecurity, we have an opportunity to upgrade our systems, which are starting to get a little older at no cost to our taxpayer, no local cost to our taxpayer, they pay taxes somewhere. And try to bring this back in the county. So it'd be my recommendation that we approve this resolution for the IT cybersecurity grant.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Understand there's no guarantee we're gonna get this grant,
I agree.
we're just applying.
I like how you managed expectations, thank you. So,
Deal with it.
all right, good deal. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. There's that. Number 12, discuss under approved board members ESD number 1, ESD number 2. Let's start off with ESD number 2. I'll make a motion that we appoint Ted Duncan and Bob Stahl to ESD number 2. We've had no other inquiries whatsoever into ESD number 2. I don't know if that says you are the only 2 guys that are foolish enough to continue to do it, or you do such a good job, you're scared off the competition, I don't know.
Number one.
I hope it's number 2 personally.
Second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to reappoint Mr. Ted Duncan, Mr. Bob Stahl, EST number 2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You guys are stuck for another 2 years. Seriously though, thank you for your service to the county. Thank you for what you do, your initiatives. ESD starting back with your initiative to put the address signs in the rural part of the county so our ambulance can find these folks. And you guys still moving forward today with putting these AEDs in our first responder vehicles to make sure there's more life-saving equipment out there on the streets and the roads of Hill County. I can't tell you that much. I appreciate that. Okay, that brings us to ESD number 1. We have 2 people up, Mr. Ken Goins and Mr. Clarence Presley. We have 2 other people that are interested in the position. The first person, I don't have the resume in front of me, is Ms. Doreen Strickland. She is, I think you all know her very, very well. She is the fire chief of Abbott, and quite the drill sergeant. And then we have a second individual. This was handed to me this morning. I have not met this individual, Mr. Billy Hefner in the crowd. Is there Billy Hefner? No? Those are the 2 names that I've got, and this is Mr. Hefner's resume appears here. So that's what we've got. Is anybody here to speak on appointments to ESD number 1? Okay, so what we do.
Who is this, Jeff?
This is Mr. Bill Hefner, and he's from Hillsborough, Texas. Or I say that he's got a Hillsborough address, doesn't mean he's in Hillsborough. It's County Road 1361. He's with the Woodbury Volunteer Fire Department. He's Peoria, yes. No. Thank you. Yes, Peoria Baptist Church. Serves as program manager for United States Forces in Afghanistan. Back,
Does he live in my precinct?
yes, sir, he does.
Good, I know him very well.
I think I know this guy too,
Yes, he would be a good member of that board.
but precinct 1 is, who's representing precinct 1 right now? Who do you get representing?
No.
There's 2 people up, only 2 people up right now.
Who, lives on 1425.
Yeah, I see his face.
Who's up?
Who's up? It's Ken Goins, and then,
Preston.
Clarence Preston. Good night.
Where's he live? He lives in my precinct.
Clarence Preston?
This is mine.
Yeah, he lives in Edison, it's his appointment. And gentlemen, how we're going to do this is each commissioner gets an appointment and that large appointment that the county judge makes a recommendation on.
They don't. Well, I ain't got a dog in hunt, it's not my precinct.
I got you.
That's a good guy though.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
pretty sure. I know who that is. So,
Hefner,
Uh-huh.
and Ken Goins,
Whatever you guys want to do, let me know.
Ken's already there.
Okay?
Make a motion, we appoint that fellow.
Okay.
Do we have to specify which?
No, I reckon we don't. The question becomes though is, okay, so we've got 4 candidates. Which two are we gonna pick?
4 candidates.
4 candidates. You've got 2 people that have both expressed interest that are on there, Clarence Presley and Ken Goins, and you've got 2 people that are not on there that have expressed interest in the last week. Mrs. Maureen Strickland, and then Mr. Billy Kevin.
Well, I'll just be quite honest with you. I have had nothing but negative from the ESD one. I was hoping that they would take it over, but you know, I know they don't want to do that, and I don't blame them. I get calls weekly from people complaining about goings and the things that's going on over there. We gotta have some business-minded people to take that over, or we're fixing to be in some real trouble. And we keep doing the same thing that we got, we're gonna keep having the same problems, and they're just gonna get worse. That's just my opinion of one person out of the 5.
I think that they've done a good job of getting things lined back up. I remember many years ago going to the meetings and thinking there was going to be a fist fight and thing before it ended. Literally, not figuratively, but literally thought there would be a fist fight before this meeting, and this is 15 years ago. And they got more accountability for government funds than I've ever seen before. And I've never, in the past, we've had trouble getting information. In the last 10 years, that's changed dramatically. I do hear some grumbling from our departments from time to time regarding the strict rules that they put in place. A lot of those rules, I understand, are there to safeguard public funds, which I'm a huge proponent of. I have heard from our departments that believe they cannot operate because they're restricted their funding. But again, I've not had anybody go out of business yet. That doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I do know that they have to take over one fire department, and in the process, I believe, about to take over the second one for this application funds. So I heard both sides. I've listened to people that want those 2 gentlemen off of there. I know that Mr. Goins told me this will be his last term. If he is reappointed, he won't be serving again after this. Just, you get that one life, you like to slow down some. So Mr. Presley has expressed his desire to continue to serve as long as we'll have him. Again, I have heard complaints about both parties as well, Russ Tanner and Commissioner Settings, how people's concerns sometimes are not addressed, whether there's valid or not. I can't judge it on a case-to-case basis only. There's things I've heard, I went, well, we make them pay for nothing, and some other times I've heard things that they should have done that. So, again, I wish that they were in here so we could talk about it, but they're not here, so we've got to make a decision in January. That's just out of the world statement, that we appointed that board in January.
Motion still stands.
All right, for Mr. Hefner, what about the second spot?
Well, Ken's the only one, maybe one more term, so go with Ken.
Second.
Unless y'all want to go with somebody else.
Well, Don put his man out, now I gotta hear from you.
I don't know either one of those people, so I really can't make a good decision.
We've got a motion to appoint Bill Hefner and a motion to appoint Ken Jones, is that correct? ESD number 2. All right, if that's the case, is there a second to those motions? Well, let's take the first motion first. Motion to appoint Billy Hefner, is there a motion to second that motion?
Second.
I'll second.
All right, the motion is second to appoint Billy Hefner. I'm gonna call the question, all All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. And the second motion is the appointment of Kenny Jones. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that issue? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
I'm gonna oppose.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
Opposition.
All right, that's good, vote, I appreciate it. So what we're gonna have is we're gonna have 4 in favor and 1 opposed. I did hear that correctly, right? Yes, all right, that's good.
That's okay.
Okay. All right,
They have to be appointed this month.
yes, sir, this month, January is the month.
So there's no way that we can get the other 2 candidates to come in and,
Now let's roll on a special meeting for it.
Mm.
And we've advertised this in the paper, I mean, people know we've been looking.
Yeah, it's been in the paper now.
These gentlemen have been here the last 2 weeks, I guess,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be here, so.
yeah.
Okay, all right, so, welcome Mr. Heffernan on board, thank Mr. Clarence Preston for his many years of service to ESD number 1. And, so we have a motion that passes. All right, let's move along to next, number 14, which is discussion action on uniform expenditures. We have before us, Hill County Commissioners Court, we have a discussion for uniform expense for county purposes. During our budgeting process, Commissioners Court approved budgetary line items for certain departments that need uniforms. Let me step up to this thing, make sure everybody can hear me. Uniforms required as we identify Hill County employees as a general rule, the general public, for IRS purposes, to be excluded from wages of an employee, the uniforms must specifically be required as a condition of employment and cannot be worn or adaptable to general use as ordinary clothing. I can't buy you Wrangler jeans, because you can wear those out. I can't buy you a sport coat, can't buy the judge suit and tie. You can't do those things. You've got to be specific and be required as a part of your employment. Think sheriff's office, think constables, think you emergency management, think veteran service officer. So no description of exactly what constitutes. Yes, sir. No description of exactly what constitutes a uniform under Hill County budget guidelines has been approved to date, and that's what we're trying to correct here. What constitutes the uniform? So we've discussed and we've already purposely approved those offices, including 911, as to who we're required of to identify themselves. So the purpose of this discussion is to formulate some ideas, formulate a policy that we can be uniform in our uniform purchases and keep it within the non-taxability guidelines of IRS and Texas laws. However, if an elected official purchases a uniform for himself or herself that cannot be excluded as wages, then it is not allowable under the laws of the state of Texas. As you know, the constables get treated different because they're elected officials. We have to set their salary under local government code 113 one time. And so we can only pay them X. And we didn't pay for it in their budget. So if they have a uniform expense that is not allowable under IRS as a requirement, then it goes as their wages, and we can't do that under Texas law. So you've got a couple of different things interplaying here. And we're trying to put a policy together that's equitable for everybody. So, and another reason for the discussion is to deter the current budget philosophy with respect to the budgetary line for uniforms, which allows elected officials to manage a full budget and permit certain line items to exceed the individual lines until the total budget is exceeded. We don't want to continue to do that. We're trying to stay within these line items, so we're not having all these budget amendments at the end of the year. So the definition is going to save time on review of payments. It's going to save us some money, give us a better plan how our budgeting is going to go. So it's the definition of uniform needs to adhere to the IRS guidelines for wage exclusion for the state employees. Permissible items of uniform clothing for Hill County should be defined as, this is the recommendation, shirts, pants, badges, patches, ball caps, toboggans that are clearly identified with Hill County and the main department. So again, shirts, pants, badges, patches, ball caps, and toboggans, or duty hat, whatever you call that. It may also include jackets with the county name, department, or the article of clothing is customary for that department's type of occupation. All uniforms should be returned to the department upon termination of employees. The definition of uniform does not include shoes, boots, or cowboy hats. If the department has a special need for a specifically excluded item, they can bring the request before the Commissioners Court for prior approval prior to purchase. The Hill County definition can be modified or updated as necessary. And it's also recommended that expense for uniforms not be allowed in excess of the department's budgeted uniform line item unless a budget amendment is requested prior to that purchase. That is very simple, very straightforward policy that some people like, some people don't like. second, keep running approved policy as stated. We can always come back and modify if we need to modify it. If there's something that one needs to buy, law enforcement, whatever it may be, if we didn't bring it to the board, let's talk about it.
We did have jackets on there.
Yeah, we do have jackets, yes, sir. Yeah, and that was an addition as well as caps, because, Chief Deputy Robinson sent in a note yesterday regarding, hey, this is something we need to make sure that we got as well. So we've included those things, we want to be fair about it, but we just need to put some guidelines in place. Any other discussion on this?
This was the resolution, Judge. I learned it all, thank you. Okay.
But I appreciate you giving me another copy.
Okay.
We like that 10-gallon cans.
No 10-gallon hats for you, I'm sorry, sir. No architect shaped like cowboy hats either. You all remember that?
I was gonna get Constable Cordell a new cowboy hat. Sorry.
Okay, in which case, I call the question. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Any further mention? No? Anybody against it? All in favor? I'm gonna pass the order. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, then we have number 15. Discussion and action on the contract between Hill County and the Hillsborough Area Chamber of Commerce for reimbursement by the Chamber of Commerce for the salary position of executive director. As you know, we have consolidated finally our economic development goals of the county. There's no one statutory vehicle that allows the county to have an economic development program. It's not like the city that has an economic development corporation, we don't have that ability. So what we've done is taken our tourism program and the economic dollars we've got from the comptroller's funds that we apply for every year. And we went in partnership with the Hillsborough Area Chamber of Commerce. We hired Mr. Wendy Ellis, who's online with us right now. Wendy, go ahead and mute yourself, as our director or our coordinator for economic development for Hill County. So, part of that agreement that we've made with the chambers, they're going to reimburse us for the cost of her salary and her, Social Security, Medicare, and then we're going to take care of, health insurance. That was the goal. So what this is this document actually is a different document. There's some language that we're going to propose that you have to make. I only have PDF. It turns out I don't have PDF editor on my computer anymore. Sorry. But the two amendments to this will be, one is having some say regarding, hold on, Wendy's telling me something here. She's texting me. Zoom is not working. Am I allowed to come over? Yes. I think you sent this an hour ago. Sorry. Yes.
I'm here now, Judge.
All right, now I know you're hanging. I'm sitting here answering texts in the middle of the meeting to you. So, okay. Can you hear us?
I can.
All right, good deal. So the proposals that were made yesterday regarding this, why don't you go over the proposed change in language?
Well, Judge, I don't know that I have the specific language. The main concern or the big question for me was, I think it was section 10 under the miscellaneous terms, the letter J, I believe it was, said that all notifications needed to be done via certified mail. And just felt like maybe the quarterly invoicing and the payments and things like that, could be handled via email or regular mail without having to get the certified mail charges, and maybe leave that language so that if there was like a termination notice of some sort, or some major change to the contract, that would have to be done via certified mail. And then the only other question I had kind of about this, and this is really, I guess, more on the county side of things than it is on the chambers as far as concern or anything. But it does in the contract stipulate that if there is a vacancy in the executive director position at the chamber, that that would cease any payment as far as reimbursement from the chamber coming to the county or any payouts on the county's behalf. There wouldn't be any money that would be spent if the position was vacated, but it didn't really necessarily say how the position would be refilled, in the sense that would that be a partnership with the county and the chamber? Would the county want to have any kind of participation in the process? Or, if there is at some point in the distant future, a change in staff or anything, how would the county want to handle that? is this specific to kind of the personnel and the people in place right now?
It really is to a large degree, and hence that language under the vacancies, is that if they did terminate the position, we stop this. Of course, we could always recontract with them, should they choose somebody else, it would continue, because they don't have the ability to offer, healthcare on their own. So the incentive to the chamber to negotiate or talk with us regarding any new hires, should you get hit by a bus or win the lottery or just move on, would be that they're gonna offer healthcare to the employee, that we have to be on board with it. We can put language memorializing that in the contract, if necessary, David.
I think it's entirely up to the board of the chamber.
I tend to agree with you. I don't want to get into the weeds with them and tell them, hey, we're gonna tell you how to do your job. It's just, hey, if you like the person, we'll play ball. If not, we're gonna go a different direction with the county. I think that there'd be some entanglement there. I'm happy with the language. I appreciate it. If you don't have any problem, I'm happy with the language under section 4 as it is for vacancies.
It works well. It works well from our side, and that's not a problem.
Okay, good. And what we'll do is we'll go under J, under section 10J, and we'll modify the miscellaneous provision there regarding notices that communication notices, such as communications, invoices, bills, and reports shall be required under this agreement, shall be personally delivered or emailed to the respective parties. And then any notification regarding termination of this contract, termination, modification, or assignment of this contract to be by certified mail. If that's agreeable to you.
Yeah, and I think it gave hand delivered or certified as an option on that. And so if that stays hand delivered or certified, I think that's good.
So we'll do hand delivered or email, and then the termination will do, so the termination, modification, or any assignment of contract, we would do as certified at that point.
Okay.
That way the day-to-day business doesn't get held up and spend a bunch of money sending quarterly invoice
Right.
for $12. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a thought, and I apologize, David, for not reviewing that earlier, but what about accrual of PTO, sick and vacation?
Oh, yeah.
Is that addressed? I'm sorry.
It actually is under chapter 2, article 2 of compensation. Executive director shall be paid salary set by the board of the chamber of directors. The county will provide health insurance and any other supplemental insurance coverages provided to other counties, i.e. dental, vision insurance. The county court, the executive director will accumulate paid time off at a rate set by commissioners court of the county for other county employees with similar years of service upon termination of employment with the county under the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, as we know, COBRA. The executive director shall be entitled to continue the health care insurance solely at their own cost and only for statutory requirement of the period. Well, David drafts a pretty solid contract. So, all right. Well, gentlemen, with the modification you mentioned, that's in section 12, and changing the notification process on the day-to-day to just simply an email, but any major terms of contract, termination notification, assignment contract to certified mail. Can I ask for approval with that modification to this contract?
Make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve a reimbursement agreement between the Hillsborough Area Chamber of Commerce and Hill County with the amended language. We should copy that in an hour or two. Is there any further discussion? Hey, Wendy,
Yes, sir.
you think you will give us an updated report on what's happening?
When?
Yes, ma'am.
When do you want me to?
And ask what good on your schedule.
We can do something at the next commissioners court meeting if we want to.
We're shooting February, second Tuesday in February.
I can't understand you, Judge. Sorry.
Can we shoot for the second Tuesday in February?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. I might get a thinner mask when I talk. All right. I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Last but not least, we have discussion action request for a variance. We have
I'm gonna suggest, you're gonna have a special meeting next week.
okay.
Take this to that.
Okay.
And I'll try to get him to come in and actually apply for that.
Sounds good. So gentlemen, make a motion to table this.
Second.
Second, motion second. Table item regarding variance or item number 16. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, in which case, that leaves the big one.
Make a motion, adjourn.
Motion second, we stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention. Appreciate it. No. No. Oh, right.
We've got it.